So I'm going to edit that definition. I'm going to select that display config we called linkage explode. And what I want to do is the initial state will be exploded, so we'll implode this starting with the innermost parts first. And all of this is available to change at any time. When you do that, it adds all of the exploded components to your timeline. And what I can do is I can basically collapse that and just work with this one, the top level explode. And what I want to do is I want to shorten it up so that we can see it all in one few frames here. And I'm going to shorten it up to let's say 100. Now once that's done, at that point this is moved down and up and then is imploded. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to copy this again, the motor, and I'm going to paste it, and then I'm going to copy this and mirror it. So those are the motors. And then what I can do is I can take the explosion where this will take and run through the implode. I'm going to copy, and then I'm going to mirror it. And so now we've got not only the motors moving the parts up and down, but we implode and then we re-explode. Another thing that can be done is maybe we want to apply colors. Maybe we want our customer or somebody that we're showing this to focus in on a specific part. Well, we can come down to the appearance command, and I can select, for example, one or multiple components and accept it, and then I can tell it I want it to start with a specific color. Maybe in this case I'll pick brass. And then maybe I want it to finish in a specific color, and I can tell it to use its part style, which is this blue part style. Now I can even come down and tell it to pick maybe a white clear where you wouldn't even see the model. But in this case I'll leave it at brass, and we'll just kind of see how that works. And you'll notice it adds it to its timeline that we've created. I'm going to shorten it up so it only occurs during the explode and implode. And then I'm going to copy, and I'm going to mirror it because I want it to go back to its normal color when it re-explodes. So once our timeline is created, and you can see how easy it was to manipulate this, I'm basically going to collapse this down, give us a little more room to see the animation that we created that includes the motor, the explosion, and then the change of color of the components. With that, we can come down, we can change the speed at any time, but I'm going to go ahead and just run it, and you'll notice it moves down, back up, and then it begins to implode the parts in the order in which I selected. It goes down and back up, and notice the color. As it's exploding, the color's going back to the gold part. Again, the animation editor is a very powerful tool, and again it allows you to visualize how components will move or interact with each other within the assembly. And it kind of gives you a better idea how parts can actually be assembled if you want to look at it in that aspect. So the animation editor, again, a nice benefit to our users. Now once I come back out, I'm going to change my display config back to the all parts on, actually moving linkage. Okay, and then we'll go to the moving linkage actually, and then the other thing that I think is important to see here is the rendering capabilities. And really the cool thing about rendering is that our users can use a rendering to create technical illustrations, create rendered images for company manuals. There's a lot of really nice capabilities where you can create some really nice rendering. And by rendering the scene, what it will do is it will also add a couple of tools that we can go in and manipulate what the image actually looks like. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to focus up a little bit just so we get a full render here and re-render that scene. And you'll notice it's using a background color of gradient blue. It also has a shadow. And anytime you render a scene, we have a session entities Pathfinder on Pathfinder. So on that session entities, these are the entities that were used to build this rendered scene. If I want to change the background, I can simply edit the definition, go to that color, and maybe I just want it to be white. You'll notice it does give me a view of what that will look like. So when I re-render this scene, it's going to use the white background. There are some other capabilities if you want to change the materials that were used on the different components. You can do that. If you want to change the lighting, you can do that. But we also have some predefined archives that can be used. For example, I'm not going to change my light studios. I'm going to go to high contrast. And in order to apply any of these predefined attributes, you just simply drag them into the view. Now it's not going to render until I actually tell it to render, but I'm going to drag this left spot with back into the view. I'm then going to change to the materials. I'm going to go to the metals, and under chromium, I'm going to grab the chrome plate, and I'm going to apply that to this L bracket. Now there are 4 of them, and it recognizes there are 4 of them, so I can apply to all occurrences. Some other changes that I might want to make. Maybe I want to change this cross bracket to a brass, antique brass. We can easily do that. Some other things. Maybe if we go to finishes, I can go to painted finish, and we'll go to a flat paint, and maybe I will make the bolt black. And it's going to apply it to all of those. So we've got chrome, brass, and black. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and run the render scene, and you'll notice the difference in the colors it applies. So it shows you how you can come in and manipulate the actual components as you change attributes and then render the scene. And if I zoom up real close, it kind of gives you a better idea of what this actually looks like. You notice the reflection in the chrome plating of the bolt. Again, being able to do this allows our users to actually create some very sophisticated rendered images that they can use for, again, technical illustrations and company manuals. And so this gives you a really nice idea of all of the capabilities within the Explode, Render, Animate. We call it the ERA environment. So with that, I'm going to close, back out, and go back to the top level, where you can continue on with the demonstration of the Iron Eagle. But hopefully you've seen some great benefits to the Explode, Render, Animate environment. And this concludes this demonstration.